So I want to be respectful of everybody's time. So we can get started here. And I am so honored to have you here today, Marlana. Uh, if I said that correctly, okay?
You said it
Because
adorably. I love that. Thank you.
okay, hi Michelle. Okay, yeah, and you and I've been talking for a while, and I'm gonna tell you, you are very intimidating the way you carry yourself and stuff. So I'm like, I don't think she likes me very much when I first met you, because you had this air about yourself, and I'm like, holy moly, what can I do?
Mm.
Because I'm all about bridging the gap, okay? Because when I think about bridging the gap, certain movies and stuff come to my mind, okay? And because I think about because you're Italian, okay? And I love the Corleone family, okay? Because I used to watch. I loved it, okay? You guys was about food, family, and
Money.
putting people in their place. Yeah, putting people in their place, right? So I can respect that. Game recognized game, okay?
That's
So
funny.
I'm like, okay. So I'm like, well, how can I, approach the situation? Because we're talking about today, we're talking about bridging the gap between cross cultural communication. Okay. So for me, I was looking at a lot of these things because working overseas, you working with different people from different cultures, different backgrounds, and you have to be able to communicate regardless of where you're at and what situation you find yourself in. Okay, I
Mm.
might not know the language, but I know how to read body language. Okay, I know when it's time to shut up and when it's time to run. So when you're in situations like that, you have to know that. And I used to love Don Corleone. Okay, the way he talked. He wasn't taking no crap from nobody. So when I saw you, I was like, she's Italian, so I should have this under. I should have this down, but it don't. It don't work that way. Okay, it don't work that way because you have to build trust. That's the foundation of any relationship, right?
Absolutely.
Right. So I like, okay, game recognized game. So I gotta bring my A game when I'm talking to Marlena, okay? Because she know the BS when you come up, she know it's BS and she ain't gonna take that, okay? So that's why I said, all right, I love you guys and what you talk about because the kiss of death, okay? And all of these things. The parallels for us, I was looking at an example. I don't know if you ever seen Snowflake. Was it Snowflake? Anyway, it was a series on snowfall. It was the rise of the crack epidemic in the 1980s during Los Angeles, okay? And they had the Italians, they had the Italian mob, they had the Jewish mob, they had the black, well, mob, let's call it mob. And you had to see how all of these groups had to communicate with each other to bring in the drugs, figure out how they was gonna divide it and how they was gonna sell it, and everybody gonna get their share.
Right.
Okay, in the big scheme of things, that's the way things supposed to go. But we know things don't go that way because the Italians is over here plotting. Well, we're gonna figure out how we can take a little bit more off of the top. All these different groups is vying for the whole thing, and that's what I love about it. But it's so much backlash and betrayal and everything. So you got to be able to read people pretty quick and know what's what. Because a person show you your face, the stonewall face, you don't know which way they're going. So I would always go on the side of caution. Okay.
Well, it always amazes me to kind of hear other people's interpretation of me. Um, I never not liked you, so I'm sorry that I gave off that energy. I think you're very fiery, and I think I've always enjoyed the energy that you brought into your space and the people that you've had conversations with. So I'm actually really privileged to finally sit here. I think it was my own. my own nerves, my own, and believe it or not, like it is easy for me to host a conversation. I have more control that way. When I sit in a co-host seat, it's like I don't know what's going to happen, and now I have to, like, I have a little bit more anxiety to it. So it's all about, unfortunately for me, it was about control, which I started to realize probably needed to change. So I said yes to somebody that has been supporting me for a very long time, in Michelle Ray, last week. So I said, if I'm doing this, then I need to say yes to Margaret, because that is somebody that has been supporting me for a substantial amount of time, and I'm just really grateful to share space with you finally, my friend. And you make me laugh. I'm Italian and Puerto Rican, so you never know what side you're really gonna get from me. Spicy all around, okay?
Okay. And that's what we love about you. Okay.
Mm. Well,
Yes.
I appreciate the love. I appreciate seeing new names and new faces in your space, and I hope we can continue to bridge the gap, because there's a lot of differences between maybe you and I, but at the end of the day, I think we've experienced some similar things that we can continue to have thoughtful conversations without anybody feeling lesser than, where I'm here to support, and just always happy to be here, honestly.
Yeah, and I love what you do, and I love the way you do it. It's different than mine, but it doesn't make a difference. It just makes sense, and it's just wonderful. Like the conversation you had earlier with what's her name, Delulu. It was
Yeah.
hilarious, and I loved it. I loved it.
Well, I sometimes the inner room can be a little heavy, so I try to bring in co-hosts that from all different walks and specks of life, and sometimes we just need a little humor. And curiously, Delulu definitely always performs well under those circumstances, for sure.
Yeah, right. And then you also had Yana on 2 or 3 times, and she and I also connected and went live together, and we all doing amazing things together. We're from different backgrounds, different nationalities, or whatever, but we find common interests and common goals to come together to elevate others.
Yeah, I mean, you're
Okay.
you're the empowered leader, and I think what Yana does is also empower a lot of humans to feel like they can also be successful in this space. I'm a huge fan of hers. She works a lot though, so everything that she has is definitely very very earned, and I respect all the hard work that she puts in. But her her willingness to also give, like she's not gatekeeping anything. Like if you wanna be serious about something, you could definitely check out Yana GY's page if you want to continue to grow here. Well, shameless plugs for other people right now. I love that, but that's what we do here. We elevate and empower and support others, right, Margaret?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I use her scheduler, okay? And I recommend it. I'm an affiliate for her. So if anybody want to use a note system and it attaches to Claude, you can definitely utilize her notes thing. And also Finn, her and Finn collaborated, Finn Tropy, and he's involved too. So I support them and they support me. We all support each other. And that's what we need to do, is to support each other. Okay? We support each other through coming to each other's events. Okay? If we can't, we still support each other through stacking each other's post. Okay, we support each other through liking each other's posts. We also support each other through giving each other recommendations. So it's many ways in which we can support each other, and we do collaborations. And so I was so shocked when you said, "Oh yeah, I'll do the collaboration." I'm like, "Yes, girl, because you got a powerful story that others need to hear." Okay,
Mm.
and this gives people an opportunity to see another side of you that they've never seen.
Yeah, that sometimes is what I obviously try to do for the space that I created with the inner room and the co-host, and I'm like, that's where my nerves come in. It's like, ooh. And I think that's some of my own trauma, right? Like not feeling like I'm worthy of taking up space. Like my story is not as extravagant or irrelevant or relevant as other people's maybe. But I think I'm starting to learn that every bit that I can share, every moment that I get to take up space somewhere help somebody else feel like they also can. So that's why I'm here.
And that's why I'm glad you are here, because you have a powerful story to tell people, about, you worked in corporate, America, and now you're doing your own thing. I don't know if you want to talk about that or just what, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, I would it's funny because I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna be 37 this year," and I probably started working at 16 like everybody else. Like, I worked at a little grocery store in the neighborhood, but majority of my life was in PetSmart buildings, and, from 20 to 35, well, 19 to 35, I worked in 6 different stores in 3 different states. And I had the opportunity to run two of their locations, one in Stamford, Connecticut, and one here in New York. And I thought, like, the entire time that I was with that company, the goal was become a store manager, like become a retail store manager. That's the goal, right? So I spent a lot of time working my way up, and I felt like it took me longer because sometimes I didn't feel when I was in Florida that I was the right face. Like, I didn't look the part, and I don't know how to say this without saying this, but yeah, Florida can be a very racist state, and I don't want to, like, pretend like that's not a reality for some people there. And it definitely was for me, and it may be the color of my skin, it may have been the tattoos, it may have been my haircut, it may have been that I'm a masculine lesbian, it may have been a lot of things, but it definitely kept me from moving up the ladder. And when I felt that also played a role in coming back to New York, because I didn't feel like those same restrictions would be here, and they weren't. I was given an opportunity to run two locations, um, but I think, unfortunately, when I lost my job, the reality hit me that that was probably draining my soul, because everything within a corporate uh, structure is you have to play by their rules. You have to wear what they expect you to wear. You have to communicate the way that they expect you to communicate. You have to be a very certain way. And as you did move up the ranks, so I was an assistant store manager before I was a store manager. There are expectations, and it does get a little bit political. And I don't, if you don't know me, I don't really play by those rules. So I think my style of leading, and not that it was wrong or bad, it just wasn't aligned in what they expected. And I feel like that obviously played a role in my termination. But also, some people just are shitty, and they'll cut stab you in the back to save themselves, and that's also what I experienced within that corporate type of ladder. But yeah, I've been unemployed technically for a year and a half. It hasn't been easy, but I think what I lost in money, I gained in understanding myself, and having respect for myself, and understanding in the long run what I really want for myself. So I don't think that could really be bought. Um, but there's things that I've learned. I've obviously know how to take care of a dog, so that's good. you know.
Awesome. And you can do house sitting, dog sitting if you want as an
I
option.
mean, I've done dog walking. I've had my own dog walking pet sitting business. I actually have a client just as another stream of income for myself now. Um, but yeah, it's interesting to be on the outside of that world now, like not being a part of the retail world, and not having the teams to lead, and not having the friendships or relationships that come within those buildings. It can be a little bit more quiet, feeling a little bit more exiled. So I appreciate Substack in the space here, because it allows me to connect with other human beings, and that's what I enjoyed the most about that job.
Yeah, and as a result, a lot of more opportunities opened to you um, as a result.
Yeah, I mean, every person that I get to sit down and speak with on every Tuesday in an interview type of style, it obviously exposes me to their followers or subscribers, but it also uh, mirrors to me maybe something that I still need to learn in my life, because of what I've noticed is the people that I sit down with in the inner room often have stories that are parallel to something I'm currently going through. So it's a cool place to kind of not have all the attention on me, but be able to kind of mirror some of the things that I'm trying to work through, and realize, oh, I'm not alone in this. Like, somebody else has also felt this way, or been through this, or X, Y, and Z. And I think community is something that has been really important to me since losing my job.
It has been, and that's what sustained me in my darkest hour and even in my highest point.
Mm. Yeah,
Yes.
I think, I not to get into a rampage of the state of the world or anything, but I think um for the last 6 years we have moved in a more isolated way, and I think some of us have really understood how important, knowing thy neighbor and having community and places to talk it and feel safe in really is to like just our livelihood. So I'm just very honored to be able to create a space that other people decide to show up in and talk with me. And again, like I said, I love having opportunities to communicate with other people like yourself. So this is a new way for me, because like I said, I don't spend a lot of time talking too much about me, but anything for Margaret.
Well, I appreciate that because you have a powerful story that we all needed to hear, and that's just going to bring you even closer to your own community.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I've had my life story is just always interesting. Like, and just like anybody else's who's on this, who's watching this, I'm sure we all have a pretty interesting life stories. But I was a drug addict for a good part of my life. I don't associate really with that because it doesn't really define me. But I do feel like people need to remember that, what you do to escape yourself sometimes is you can recover from. And again, I think people need to remember how important other people are in their lives, whether it's a friend or a family member or a coworker. Anybody that you have to talk to is better than not having anybody. I think we spend way too much time in our minds, so it's nice to have a space where you can share your thoughts and not feel judged on them.
Yes, and that's what I love about Substack, because it's available 24 hours a day. You can always catch somebody online and have a conversation, and I love that.
Yeah, it's a very unique space. I mean, I have seen how much it's changed in the last year of being on it, but I think at the end of the day there are still really amazing, genuine people on this platform, and I'm always excited to connect with strangers because I don't think we're strangers at all. I think humans are all connected, and there is a reason why today I'm sitting here with Margaret on this call, because we have a connection. And we could talk about the messy bits of what life is like recovering from narcissism, and what life is like moving on from a career that you thought was a part of your identity, that it defined you. Because working 16 years with PetSmart, that was my identity. Like, I was known as that was me. Like, oh, Marlena has just call Marlena, she'll know what to do about this animal. Or you found an animal in the street, call Marlena, she'll know. Like, that was a part of me, and losing that, I lost a huge part of my identity. And I don't think that people understand the grievances that come from losing your identity that's tied to a career. That was probably the hardest part that I've had to kind of understand about my own self. you know PetSmart doesn't define me. It's not my That's not all of who I am, but that was a big chunk of who I thought I was. So getting an opportunity to kind of reintroduce myself to myself has been interesting.
I can identify because we blame ourselves for all of these things, and so we have to come to grips with it, to terms with it, really, before we move on to another situation. Because we're just gonna, what we do is just take it into the next job, the next, you know, relationship, and I don't think it's fair to you or the other person.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I have anytime a romantic relationship has ended in my world, I have never rushed into another one. I'm not that. I'm like that's something that I couldn't do. Like, I've connected so much of my time, my energy, my space to somebody, and it's like it takes me a while to kind of detox from them, like get rid of the residue of somebody. So I'm not somebody that could just like move to the next person, but I do understand that that's how some people move. And I'm not here to judge anybody. Everybody grieves how they want to grieve, but for me, I think it's important to try to understand the lessons that are in front of you. Every human you have in contact with is teaching you something, and it's teaching you something about yourself. So if you run away from that accountability, you're not doing yourself any justice for your own personal growth. That's just my opinion. My last two relationships were very difficult for me to move on for, because it's hard when you don't get your quote unquote closure. It's not fun to just wake up one day and realize your ex-fiance has moved out and her key is just sitting there and you never hear from her again. And you shared 6 years of your life with that person and you thought you were going to marry that person. You build a life with that person. So that's not easy to just like navigate through. And then, when it happens again, you have to really start thinking, if people feel like the only way to leave my world is to exit in such an abrupt way, then there's something that I probably have to sit with. And it's also okay to put some of the responsibility on them and their stuff. Some people just don't want to deal with things and it's easier to run away from them. But I think ghosting is a tremendously horrible thing to do to somebody. That's just my opinion.
I truly believe that as well. That's why we need to first love ourselves before we go off and try to have relationships with other people.
Yeah.
Because we're going to end up in the same spot or worse. Okay.
Yep.
and
Absolutely.
and and how is that going to be helping anybody? Okay. I've
Hmm.
had uh I started I, I started in a narcissist family system. Okay. So, I left that family system, growing up in a Christian home, okay, with all this programming. And then I leave there and then I go work for the government. Basically, is similar. Okay. And so, you know, so
I think it's
within,
very similar, probably.
it
Because you
was.
you have to act in, and everything has to be a structured kind of way, and yeah.
I thrived in that system because it kept me in this box. And so I knew, the limits of what that box was. And so it it protected me in certain ways, but it limited me in way so many ways. And I can never get that time back. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, but I think, there's something to be said that you're even aware that there were limitations for yourself because of the structures that you grew up in and then worked in. Like I think that says a lot about you as a person, because a lot of people sometimes can't identify that they even have any type of limitations, you know. And I've encountered people that, what do you mean? There's nothing wrong with me. You're the problem, you know. So to be able to identify that speaks a lot. I'm actually, real quick though, Margaret, I'm really curious about what Copaganda said. They write, I have a black tax. I add 10K to my salary with every new job I get after I get fired from the previous job. I just like I don't even know I don't even know what that means. And it's like, educate me. And then Miss Yu
So
says, I'm trying to break free from the cycle of toxic relationships. And I think to that point, identifying that what you consider toxic, and that's the first step, right? And then you have to unfortunately get uncomfortable with what role do you play in it, you know?
one of the problems is that we don't even realize that we were in abusive relationships. We thought it was normal.
Yeah. I mean, that's also very true. And I've definitely been in those situations where looking back on it, I'm like, how did I not? And before we went live, that's kind of what I was talking to you a little bit about, is just, certain things we have to go through, and sometimes we have to have those blinders so that at the end of it all, unfortunately, there comes the lesson that we needed to experience to get to where we are now. So, you know,
Baby
Curry's
steps.
very, very, very small baby steps for me. It is definitely, I like to think that I could have gotten to a place, if I didn't take a couple of detours. But I'm glad to have finally arrived to where I'm at now. But yeah, it didn't come without some pain. That's for sure.
Yeah, the biggest pain then is the trauma bond, how to break it. You know what I'm saying? Instead of keep going back to the same thing that broke you,
Mm,
okay?
Yeah,
do
I don't
something
think
else
I
instead.
didn't. Yeah, I really didn't. You know, what's funny is that you say that is like I with my recent ex, I didn't even realize that that's probably what it was a trauma bond until a lot after, like a lot of time afterwards. You know, and so it is a little bit difficult to identify like why am I feeling so connected to somebody, you know? And sometimes I've become a very, woo woo spiritual person. So I do believe that everything happens for a reason. And I do believe encounters mean something. Um, but unfortunately, some of those encounters are to teach us a really hard lesson. And that's also, something that you have to be okay with and identify how you can continue to change moving forward or what you were supposed to learn that was going to change you moving forward. Um, but yeah, it's been a wild journey, that's for sure. And I know you were uh awesome enough to spend some time earlier with us, and I was talking about dating with somebody, and I just, to me, I take it a little bit more seriously than I guess some other people. But it's a weird time to be single. I feel like I think everybody's priorities are just different right now.
Yeah, mine is to stay on track with my business, okay, and to because people will pull you away from what you're trying to do on purpose, okay, to bring you down to their level.
Uh,
Okay, you're a high vibrational person. You don't want to be uh associating yourself with people with lower vibration. Is going to bring you down. Okay, that's the first thing we talked about. That is that everything glitter is not gold. Okay.
yeah, it's just hard sometimes not touching the glittery toy, like not going after the little fancy toy. It's definitely it's definitely hard to identify, what is just glitter to what is actually gold. But it's also interesting because I think for me, I never previously understood myself as a higher vibrational human, so I didn't think that my energy was of a certain surplus that somebody would want to leech off of any type. So I think that that's also understanding myself a little bit more, or understanding, or having the confidence to understand, like, no, I am good. Like, people do like to be in my space, like, and that sometimes can be intoxicating itself. So to understand that and have a little bit more of boundaries around who I allow in has definitely been a lesson for me, for sure.
Yeah, because you have to see every Tuesday you have a room full of people. So apparently you got some charisma. Okay.
Oh, apparently, no idea where that came from, but apparently it happened.
Oh, okay. So
Uh,
so what we have to do is see our value. Okay. You said yourself, I bring a lot to the table. So why should you accept less than what you're willing to give? Right?
Absolutely. And like I said, I just think it was a tougher lesson for me to learn because I didn't see my value, and I think even to this day, I don't understand my value to the capacity that it probably is. I like to think, because I'm a Leo. If anybody is into horoscopes, and there's a lot of talk about Leos right now, and everything that I hear is I'm destined to be famous, and like I'm supposed to be in the spotlight, but I've been so uncomfortable in it, and I think that's a part of why I haven't actually gotten to where I'm supposed to be, because I need to start being comfortable within myself, and to have the understanding of what I bring to the table, and it's okay to ask for people to meet me where I'm at and not have to, go low so somebody can stay in my space.
That's amazing. And that's why I see your growth, because I saw you out there with Michelle Reed. Now you're here with me. Who knows where you'll be next? And
I,
that's where
I,
the magic happens.
if another offer pops up, I might actually consider it. But I love how active your chat is. Everybody in here is such a great community. They're talking about so much stuff, and it's just like I don't like to be it about me, but um
No, go ahead.
Charlene
Go ahead.
said, sisters, what the people in this world need to know is that no matter what they refer to as their higher power, they need to know that you are you. Do you love you? You are enough, and no one can ever replace you. I think that's a beautiful message. So thank you for sharing that. And then Joe also says, you both are beautiful and give me joy. So, like, that makes me so happy, right? Like when somebody else gets happy just from my existence, I'm like, oh my god, I love that. I want to do that more. And then that's where sometimes I get in trouble because now I'm just exposing myself to maybe people that will take advantage of that, you know? um
No, because no, that's not gonna happen because you can read people.
yeah, I think being observant and like to your point, you said you had to understand body language, even though you may have not known their actual language, you understood, and that was a part of your role. I think, at my age growing up, I think I had to learn the environment around me, and I had to understand the body language and people's cues and people's tones, and because that affected my own safety, right? So I think that does help me in this lifetime now in a very unique way, to better identify when somebody is being genuine or when somebody is just being performative. And if you don't know, I'm not really big into performances. I don't feel like anybody should have to put on a show to be liked or appreciated. Just be who the fuck you are, and I'll respect that a lot more.
Absolutely. Miss Hughes says, "A, it's not selfish to want to be seen. We all want to be heard."
Mm, beautifully said. Beautifully said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can see you and her going live for real because she is gangster. Okay.
Well, I'll have to connect with Miss Hughes off of your thing to see if that's a possibility in the future. But I'm always looking for amazing co-hosts to continue to interview, and every human on this platform is amazing in my eyes. So I appreciate that very much. And it's interesting because I talk about it often as like I do want people to know my name. I do not have a child, and I do wonder what my legacy will be without having something carrying it on, right? So I think that's why I've appreciated writing so much and why I enjoy the podcast, because it's a time capsule, right? There's different versions of me with different conversations with different people, and I think that's cool for me and the way that I leave my own imprint on this world. So it's a special place to be in right now, even though it came from what people would see as such a negative. How could you survive after losing a six-figure paying job? And it's just like, because you got it. I'm here for a bigger purpose, and it's not just all about money. You know,
We all need to remember that. And there's much more people here that you can go live with as well.
I'm sure.
Um, yeah, right. My ascending, Wendy said, my ascending is Aquarius and my descending is Leo. So I totally get it. See, see, you guys got a lot in common.
Yeah, I saw that, and it's interesting because in August is my birthday, and I'll be hosting somebody who's doing my chart, and I've never experienced that, and it's going to be live, so it'll be pretty cool to kind of see a little bit more about myself from that perspective. Again, if you're into horoscopes and understanding yourself through that, it's again they're tools. It doesn't define you. It doesn't mean that everything that's said in it is law. It's just it's a tool to better understand yourself sometimes. So I'm excited to kind of discover that a little bit more, because I don't know what my ascending or anything is. I feel like I'm Leo, 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 but we will see.
Okay, that's good. The better you
She's
know yourself, the better decisions you can make in the future, now and in the future.
absolutely. I think that's a part of life that I encourage people to kind of take on a little bit, is like be curious about you. We always so nosy about other people. Like, what are they doing? What is it like? Why not put that energy into you? Like, better understand you. Like, it's worth putting the time in to understand like what you like to what you don't like. What makes you happy, what drains you. Like, be curious about your own life. Be nosy about your own life. That's what I would tell people to do.
Absolutely. Charlene said, "What sisters, what the people in this world need to know is that no matter who they refer to as their higher power, they need to know that you are you. Do you love you? Be enough, and no one else can ever replace you."
Mhm.
I have to agree with that. We are all unique. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, she has a couple. She's wrote a couple of things in here that has been appreciative, because she also says you have a message like a child who skips a stone in the water, it ripples. Your ripples go throughout the universe, touching others. Like how beautiful is that to be too? But isn't that like such a cool message to give to like anybody? Like your presence in anybody's life is just a ripple, and it has this effect, you know. So why not choose to be kind? Why not choose to have compassion? Why not choose to be have, you know, be empathetic a little bit? We're all humans with stories that are just trying to, I think, sometimes survive in this world, and I think that has removed us from understanding what our purpose is. You know, like, right, like when you're so stuck on like, well, how do I pay this bill, or what do I got to do this, and you know, you're always focusing on what's next, and you don't get to the opportunity to sit right now. It kind of takes away from maybe what your whole point of being here is, you know. And I think it's important to remember to definitely leave positive ripples in other people's lives.
Absolutely. Otherwise, why we're here?
Well, that's the like that's the question that I love to ask like everybody. Like, what do you think the reason is why are we here? Why? Because it depends on what you believe in, right? Like I'm more spiritual than Catholic or Christian. Um, so I believe that my soul chose this life and this family and these hardships because at the end of the day it was a lesson and feelings that I wanted to experience, whether that makes sense or not. Like when you're just a floating spirit, right? You're just moving amongst. You don't always feel things, and to have the opportunity to feel gratitude, or to feel safe, or to feel seen, or to feel respected, or to feel heard, or anything, like those are feelings that I think a lot of us just rush past, because we're only looking for happy, right? Like we're always searching for happy, and it's like there's things that are worth sitting in sadness and feeling anger and having frustrations. Like those are not always, they don't need to be associated with negative. You know, all of these feelings are really, to me, uniquely important to us to be able to get the experience. Like what a great joy it is to just be here, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Capenna said, glitter in queer community is very necessary. Okay.
I mean, it was this past Sunday was obviously Pride in most places, so it's that seems very fitting for this place right now. I'm not honestly not a big fan of glitter. It gets everywhere, but it's still fun. It's still fun, you know. It's fun. It's fun to be around here.
Yeah, right.
Hmm.
Um, let's see. Thanks. It was 2 decades ago. Now. All okay. Um, Joe. The LAPD didn't respond when I called for help. They showed up and believed the abuser, okay? And that was a woman who I needed psych care for him, who needed psych care, the guy, for him. Yeah, it's a lot of this. Okay, go ahead.
No, I feel like unfortunately that story is has probably a lot of resonance with a lot of people, because I do feel like females for the most part, you know, if they make an grievance on something, they're not always heard in that way. They're not always treated like it's true, you know. And I think why Mariska Hargitay has had such a successful career is because of the way that Larner SVU shows how you should be treating victims, and allowing people to feel safe enough to communicate something that has not been a great experience for them. You know, there's nothing more upsetting than to try to communicate something that happened to you and somebody else not believe it or dismiss it or belittle it, or, you know, well, it's not that bad, it could be worse, at least you're still here. Like, you know, like those type of comments really negatively impact people. So I'm really sorry to hear that that was an experience and that the LAPD did not do right by you, my friend.
And that's why most of us stay silent when all these things happen to us, because they believe the abuser over the victim. Then we become the target. Okay.
Yeah, it's a um very unfortunate situation, and it's very unfortunately very common, and that's kind of the part that can make me sick about a lot of the things that go on in this world. But we won't go there because that's a whole file that we're not going to even talk about.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because we want to end this on a positive note. Okay.
Always.
Yeah. So the things that we can do to protect ourselves: pay attention to a person's body language. Okay. Uh, get yourself a weapon. Some spray. What you call it? What you call that
Pepper
spray?
spray. Pepper spray.
Yeah. Learn self defense.
Get a dog.
Yes, get a dog, get a cat
Ah,
because I had a cat. I'm gonna
well,
tell
that's
you,
true.
cat's a motherfucker for real. I had this
Nobody.
cat. The telephone man came in, and he's like, ah. So I was like, what's wrong with you? He said the cat scratched me. I was like, oh, because the cat know you ain't supposed to be in there. So
Mm.
the cat attacked him. So don't underestimate cats.
Well, okay, so get a pet. Get a pet that can defend themselves. I mean, I have had dogs since I was 17, and living alone was never scary for me because I was like, try to come in my house. Like try, like just try. Not that Onyx is super intimidating, but my previous dog Kingsley, he was a male pit that looked like a male pit, and he wasn't just going to allow somebody to just walk into my house or anything like that. So I'm like, if you're ever, if you're a single woman and you're ever like, I don't know, sketchy area, get a dog. Great companion, gets you outside, keeps you motivated to keep going, and they've definitely been my little saviors.
Yeah, right. And there was the movie Fargo. That woman, they say she was crazy, but she was diabolical. She knew every trick in the book. She said, "Put this behind the door. Put this up above the door." I forgot her name. Her name was Juno or something. She played in this other movie, and she played seriously. She knew how to booby trap the house. So if you come in the house, man, she had you. Okay. So you can come in if you want to, but I got something for you.
That's funny. That's funny. I've literally never I've never worried about any place that I live because I've always had dogs. But I think about the 1 month that I did it, and yeah, it wasn't the same space. So I love that we somehow segued into that because that circles back to my career and everything that I've loved in doing. It. I love animals more than most humans, and I'm not ever afraid to say it.
Yeah, I trust the animal over the person, okay? Because most pets are loyal and most people will betray you. I'm just gonna
Mhm.
keep it real. Okay?
Mhm. I mean, that means that you probably experienced that too, my friend.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. That's why I said keep your inner circle small. Okay?
Yeah,
Exactly.
mine is my dog and my immediate family that happen to live here. So my dad and my sister and my nephew. But I don't have anybody else in my day to day. But obviously, Substack has blessed me with amazing humans that I feel like I could at least have impactful conversations with, on and off of live. Like they don't always have to be live, right? I think, like I said, a big part of sometimes our struggles is how often do you talk to people? Like if you go a whole day and you don't even have a conversation with a human and you're just in your head all day, like how good do you feel? Because I'm sure it's not great. And I
Some
try. I mean, unless you have like the most positive Nancy Patsy person in your head, and you're just like every day is great, everything is fine, and you don't need to speak to people. That's completely different. But my experience has been like sometimes being able to share something, even if it's not very heavy, with somebody helps open up a perspective that I might have not thought about. So I'm circling the same thing for hours, and then all of a sudden I have a conversation with somebody. Now it's like, oh, it's like the light bulb came on. It's like clarity. It's like, oh my god, relief, relief.
Yes, but I'm gonna be honest. There's some days that I don't want to talk and I want to
That-
be left alone. I'm gonna be
that's
honest.
no,
Okay?
that's true.
And if I wasn't honest with you, I'd be lying. Okay? Being a content creator, okay? The best content I can create is in silence. I can see things, I can feel things, I just can know things that I can't know talking. And it's just constant, it's just this what you call it? hamster wheel, and I have to get off sometimes. I can't. Okay.
No, but I'm glad you said that because exchanging energy with people all day, every day is what I was my downfall. Which is, being a retail store manager, you're constantly in conversations with people, you're constantly engaging with people, there's constant human interaction, and I didn't think I understood my energy and how it is affected amongst other people's energy, and that constant swap of energy and how it can exhaust somebody. So I completely agree, but I think if you go several days without ever having a conversation with somebody, it may or may not negatively impact you, and that's everybody to each his own. Everybody knows, what's important to them and what is needed. I have learned with it is that I don't need the constant exposure to humans. I'm okay being by myself. I'm okay, in my own space and being my own company. But sometimes it benefits my mental health to have a conversation with somebody that I at least respect, because if I respect you, then I'm going to respect what you're sharing with me, and I'll be able to utilize that differently in my life. If I don't, then it's just a pointless conversation at that point. Like, and that's just me being honest. If I don't respect you, there's nothing that you could say is going to make impact me in a way that would be meaningful for my purpose.
I totally agree with that. That's why my inner circle is small. Okay.
Mhm.
Being an empath, I absorb everybody's energy and all of these things, and there's only so much I can take that I'm going to take per day. Period. Okay. I take breaks because you asked me. I don't have no specific hours. I work when I feel like it. That's the whole purpose of being an entrepreneur and retired. Okay.
Mhm.
So if I want to get up and work at 1 o'clock in the morning, I can do that. And if I want to take a nap at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I can do that. And can't nobody tell me nothing. That's where we at today.
But that's a very earned space, because you had to go through your own trials and tribulations to get there. I look forward to the day that I can wake up and do. I mean, for the most part, I kind of create my own schedule. I have my own flexibility, but yeah, it's definitely different. But I do you think empaths attract other empaths?
Do I think what?
Empaths attract other empaths.
Yes. Yes, I do. Because I think the majority of people that I be communicating with in notes is spiritual, and they're light workers, so on and so forth. And we gravitate toward each other. That's how we build genuine connections. If you're not a genuine person, I'm not going to talk to you because I can tell up front that you're a fake person, and I'm not going to deal with that. And you like to play games. So I only gravitate towards people that like-minded individuals. Why waste my time on people and things that's not going to benefit me and not going to benefit the people that I serve? We have to lead by example. Okay? We have to be able to talk the talk and walk the walk. And if you can't do that, we ain't got no conversation. Period. That's where I'm at today.
As
Okay?
you should be. Okay. I love that. Yeah. I mean, because I'm always there's been points in my life that I feel like the people that have come in, I have had to take a step back and reflect, like, this is what I'm attracting, and I've been kind of like turned off by it, right? So in this
Yes.
beautiful space, I do feel like I have been able to attract more like-minded people, and I love that my job is not to convince anybody else of what I think to be true. Like, that's not my job. So anybody that I interact with that feels like that's their job, like, no, 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 you got it wrong. No, it's supposed to be this way. I'm telling you, this is what you're supposed to think, is not the type of person I feel like I can connect with. So I very much enjoy seeing the amazing people that I've been able to connect with in this space, and us really having a lot of like-minded conversations and stuff. While I'll be honest, I love a good devil's advocate conversation. I love, playing a different side of things, because I think sometimes showing people that you can have a respectful debate, is a part of also showing, talking the talk and walking the walk, right? Like, it's like, I don't have to degrade you to prove my point. That's not necessary at all. So I love all the comments. I love Miss You saying I love this community. I love that I finally got the opportunity to spend time with you. Well, that I said yes to spend that time with you, because it's been really rewarding to see all the amazing humans that have shown up in this space and having to share energy with you, because I didn't realize how maybe like minded we were before this conversation. I'll be very honest. So you have a forever friend in me, Margaret. I very much respect and appreciate everything that you do, and I can't thank you enough for supporting me and the whole time that I've been on this platform. It's really, it's really been great to be recognized in that way. Because I'm always I'm gonna cry every second if I get too emotional type of person. Like, so to have a reflection back, to feel like somebody is reflecting back to me something beautiful, it makes me very happy. So thank you for that.
We all deserve our flowers while we live. When we're dead, I can't smell them, I can't see them, I can't feel them, nothing. Okay? So each and every one of us deserve that.
Absolutely. Every time you have a live, I like to show up and see who your co-host is, because I'm like, how does she connect with all these people? But now I know. I gotta be retired.
No, no, it's not it's not that. You know if a person is with you, you just know. I can feel it in my bones, okay? We always had a connection, and I've always been talking to you. Like, no, 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 no. But now you are putting yourself in front of many different audiences, and that's going to help to elevate all of us. And that's what we should be about.
I've said that from day one. Like, everybody rises on this ship. I don't understand why only I would want to. Like, that's why I sit with so many different people, and I'm sure that's why you sit with so many different people, is because at the end of the day, we all just want to kind of grow together. And what better way to showcase that than having genuine conversations and allowing people to also experience it and be a part of it by utilizing the chat. Like, everybody in this chat is also very much part of this conversation, and I appreciate them very much as well. So it's been very interesting for me to this is the second time I've done this, but to be on this side of it and to kind of experience different spaces. And I feel like there's such an alignment in what you do into what I try to do. And again, I'm just grateful that you've been such a great support to me. Honestly, Margaret, I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. Thank you so much for this and being flexible and adaptable. And I want to thank you all for coming, and thank you for your time as well. Let's continue to rise and grow together. That's what I say. My closing words. You have any closing words?
Uh, no, I think all the words I just said were all my closing words, because I can't express my appreciation enough to you and this beautiful community that you have continued to grow. And I hope to, connect with you again and in the future. And I like to do catch ups and stuff to see, where we're both at in like 3 months from now. You never know, you know?
Yeah, I like your style because you put people in the hot seat, okay? And that's a good place to be,
So
okay?
you want to, the next one is you're coming into the inner room. Is that what you're saying?
I will. Yeah,
All right, girl.
I got you. I
Then
got
we'll have
you.
to. Well, so you're ready for my 20 questions?
Yeah, of course. Bring it. Let's go.
I have to remember misuse too. So you have to
Okay.
remind me to remember misuse. But yeah, this has been fun. I appreciate everyone that's been here, and thank you like I said, creating this amazing space where people get to connect. Margaret, but you're a special human being, my friend.
You too, and all of you as well. And don't you forget it. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys later.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.